Welcome! Today, we are going to dig into a really simple but, wow, incredibly profound idea about fear, security, and whether we've kind of forgotten our most natural way to survive. It all kicks off with a question about something we all do when we're afraid. So let's jump right in. Seriously, think about that for a second. When things get a little crazy, when you feel threatened or scared, what's that gut instinct? For so many of us, it's to go back, to run home, to get to that one place that just feels safe. This question right here is the launch pad for everything we're about to explore. Okay, so part one, a question about fear. Why do we seek shelter? Let's start with the most obvious answer to that big question. Why exactly do we run home when we're scared? Well, for us, our home is our fortress, right? It's got physical walls to keep danger out. It's usually surrounded by a community, neighbors, friends, maybe even security systems. We have this deep-seated belief that these outside things, these external structures and people who can help us, that's where our safety comes from. And look, it makes sense. It's a very logical, very human response. But is it the only one? And this brings us to section 2, home versus wings, a tale of two securities. This is where things get really interesting because we're introduced to this amazing counterexample from the natural world. We're asked to compare our human instinct for shelter with a totally different approach to safety, one that's embodied by, of all things, a crow. So this slide really breaks it all down. On one side, you have the human way. Our security comes from external things, walls, communities, systems, and our typical response, to hunker down, to hide, to cower. But then look at the other side. You've got nature's way, with the crow as our example. Its security comes from something internal, its own ability, the power of its wings. And its response is all about action, fight or flee. It's a huge shift from trusting outside systems to trusting yourself. And boom, there it is. This is the core idea, the real light bulb moment. Crows don't panic and fly back to their nests when they're scared. And why not? Because their nest isn't their main source of safety. Their wings are. Their ability to react, to get away, to maneuver. That is their true security. That's their sovereignty. Okay, section 3, the division of labor, or why we build cages. This brings up a super important question. If being self-reliant is so effective out there in nature, why did we humans move so far away from it? Why do we depend on our homes and not our wings? Turns out there's a really powerful reason rooted in how we built our entire society. The answer is something called the division of labor. You know this. It's the absolute foundation of modern life. We all specialize. You do your job, I do my job. A farmer grows the food, a builder builds the house, a soldier provides the security. We trade our specialized work for someone else's. And yeah, it's incredibly efficient, but it comes with a pretty big hidden cost. You can see how this happens, right? It's a pretty clear progression. First, as a society, we all start to specialize. Then we start outsourcing the really essential skills, things like protecting ourselves or even knowing where our food comes from. And what happens next? We become dependent on those external systems. And finally, and this is the crucial part, because we're not using those core abilities anymore, we forget how to fly. Our own wings just weaken. Now for section 4, nature's design and choosing the right option. So now that we have these two models on the table, our human system that leans on dependency and nature's model that's all about self-reliance, the dialogue poses a really bold question. Which one is the right option? And the answer it gives is just so direct, so instinctual. Fight or flee. It's the response that's hardwired into almost every living creature. It's a response of action, not sitting back and waiting. It's all about engaging with the threat, either by facing it head-on or by using your own power to get the heck out of there. So the most powerful point made here is this one. Big assertion. Nature's design is always the one to trust. The idea is that cowering at home, just waiting for some external system to come save us, is actually an unnatural response that we've learned over time. The real, authentic response? It's fighting or fleeing. Which brings us to our final and I think most powerful lesson here in section 5, trusting our own wings and reclaiming our essential abilities. Look, this isn't about literally abandoning our homes. It's about rethinking where our true security actually comes from. It's a call to start trusting our own wings again. So let's just wrap this all up. We started out by seeing how our idea of security got tied up in external things, in walls, while nature's security is all about what's inside. Then we saw how the very thing that made our society advance, the division of labor, is what can also weaken that self-reliance. And it all leads to this one powerful takeaway. Our real strength comes from cultivating our own essential things, our own built-in abilities.
And that leaves us with one final big question to chew on. The crow has its wings to fly away from danger. But in the context of your own life, when you're facing your own fears, your own challenges, what are your wings? What are the internal skills, the strengths, the abilities that you can truly depend on, not just for security, but for your own sovereignty?